road trip time. I just met up with Chris at the gas station here. We're gonna try and get as far as Calgary today, then I'm gonna head to Vancouver the next day. But when it's like minus 37 or something, I got sleeper mode activated, the stock Steely 16s and some 265 75s. Chris is also, I had said dinky wheels, but now I can't say anything. Anyways, they're gonna give a time lapse a shot, but let's hit the road. Stopped on the side of the road there, check on the load. The mattress shifted a little bit, so we snugged up the straps and found out Chris's 6-liter was leaking some coolant. So we just stopped for some fuel in Wandering River. It's warmed up 10 degrees to minus 27 since we started. Chris's truck is being a typical 6-liter and leaking coolant.
Lots of coolant.
How are the stacks sounding on the highway?
They're really nice and quiet, actually.
That's not bad. These tires are doing pretty good. No issues at all with the traction or whatever. Road noise is quiet too. Just the looks, can't deal with that. My wrapping job on the mattress is coming apart a little bit here. I think it's just that that cool temperature. No tape can deal with that. We'll try and get it sorted out, but so far so good for a road trip starting at minus 37 or whatever. Yeah. Let's say that again.
Don't mind me, just topping up my 6-liter with some coolant, you know.
So I met up with Chris again in Red Deer here. Had a little mishap with the plastic, didn't like the cold, so I picked up a cheap tarp from Canadian Tire, taped her up, good. Now getting some more fuel, and should be just over an hour to Calgary. Well, I've arrived for my destination for tonight, and it's the humble residence of Alberta maid and Katie McDougall. Hey, well, ready to start day 2. Gonna try and make it all the way to Vancouver today, driving through Banff. Mountains should be pretty nice, so we'll definitely get time lapse on the go for that. Warm up today. It's not that cold out, but definitely still didn't like starting. So it was a little dark last night, but this is Katie's truck. She's got a little bit of cancer in the bumper there, but she's got some nice stance. So these are 20 by 14s and 35s on a 1500 with a 6-inch lift. And just over here is The other Deezy, it's Carver's welding rig now. So it's Duramax on 14s and 37s. He's got some nice Fox shocks, and he's got his rig in the back. It's pretty sweet. It's a working truck. It's got these new Trigger Industries kickback flares. They actually look not too bad. It's just he was getting covered in mud at work, so I had to do something about it. And what's that on the hood? Right on. Well, once my truck warms up, I'll top it up on some fuel and hit the road. Back at it again with the fuel stop in Golden right now. This is the first pump. It doesn't have the little lever that you can just put down and leave. I have to stand here and hold it. Come on. Thought this was 2016. Anyways, drive's going good. The roads up to basically the start of the mountains, I really didn't even need the winter tires. They're nice. Like I probably could have made it on the 420s. But there were a couple spots, you'll see it on the time lapse, when it got pretty windy and snowy, blowing all over the road, and it's a little slippery for sure. So definitely glad I did end up getting these winter tires for this drive. Otherwise the drive's been really good, really smooth. I think we're making good time. Hoping to get to Vancouver not too late tonight, but we'll see. Not too bad right now. A little bit of snow on the shoulders, but nothing on the where you drive. But yeah, earlier up in the mountains there, there's a couple sketchy spots. So first thing was there was I guess right at the top of a hill, like a mandatory brake check spot for semis. And so there's a semi, 2 cars in front of me, well I got 1 car, then the semi in front of me. And I guess he was coming in a little hot and locked up the wheels, and the trailer got a little sideways going down this hill. It was pretty icy. So he got a little sideways, then the guy in the minivan in front of me obviously had to slow her down, and props to him, he did a pretty good job slowing down as much as possible without just like jamming them on. Like, he was giving me as much room as he could. So then obviously I throw out the anchor, and even with these good tires, I got a little squirrely there, so I got a little sideways. And then at this point we were right next to like the truck pull-off, and there were like 3 semi-trucks parked there already, side by side, with like 1 semi width in between them. So I dive off to the right, and I go into the spot between the first 2 semis, and I slow it down nice and easy, controlled, lots of room, no problem. But then buddy who was a couple cars behind me, like, so there's probably 3 cars following behind me. There was a good distance too though, like I didn't just slam on my brakes to give them no room. Like they had a good following distance. But anyways, buddy in a Tacoma opted for between semis 2 and 3, that gap. And I guess to make that he had to do a bit of a turn too, and ended up taking out his like his passenger side, bedside, and rear taillight, I think, on the end of some semi-trailer, because then he was still coming in pretty hot, like when he passed me at the front, and then he stopped right before the end of the rocks there. So little sketchy there. So that was the first one. Also, the GoPro wasn't recording for this, of course. Then next one, there was already emergency crews on site. I guess some little minivan looks like it spun out and kind of went over the shoulder. Wasn't a huge, just a couple feet down. They had an ambulance and fire truck there, and guys standing with pylons and whatever. So that one slowed down nice and easy, no problem. And then third one, there was a two cop cars at the scene, and I couldn't see any vehicles, so I was, what's up? Maybe they towed it away already or what? But this one was actually recording, so you will have seen this in the time lapse. But it was a semi all the way down the ditch, like 20 feet down, like underneath a tree, and his trailer was tipped over upside down. Cab was still upright, but it was buried underneath the tree. And I don't really know what happened, but the skid marks looked like he was coming from like the oncoming direction, did a 180 and down the cliff. So hopefully he's all right, and same with the one in the minivan. But it's definitely shows you the importance of good tires, good following distance, paying attention. But so far I've been all right, luckily. Yeah, hopefully it's making for a good time lapse. So, just gonna stop here in Salmon Arm at Boston Pizza for a little bite to eat. Still about 4.5 hours, I think, to Vancouver. So, hopefully the time lapses are looking sweet. stopped at Timmy's in Hope to give me hope for the rest of the journey. As you can see, I guess from that last clip, roads are pretty snowy and slippery out there, and you know, going through a mountain, it's not a lot of wiggle room. But I think I've only got about 160 kilometers to go, so keep on keeping on and see if we can get there in one piece. Super glad I got these tires. Otherwise I would have been off the side of the mountain probably. Maybe that's an exaggeration. I would have been crawling along still, but anyways, these are good tires. Glad with how they're working, keeping me on the road, and yeah. Made it. 1,800 kilometers, 2 days, couple near misses on the highway. Other people's faults, not mine. We made it. Got here safe and sound. All the cargo's intact, except for maybe the box spring, which got plastic ripped off and the tarp ripped off. But we're gonna unload now and see you in the next one. This is Emmerich here. You'll be seeing him in a few more future episodes, I'm sure.